Hi everybody and welcome to our Anzac Day Assembly for 2021. Okay, so today, like last year, we were unable to get together and have our regular assembly, so we're going to do this via video this year. Okay, so we're going to be speaking about Anzac Day today, but I think as an international school, it's also important to recognise all the contributions from all countries to not just World War One in Gallipoli, but all conflicts around the world. So look, these are not days to glorify what happened. These are days to think and reflect about the people who were affected in those conflicts all around the world. And we have to remember it's not just the soldiers, it's also the people in the cities and towns and families and everybody in society, really. So when we have our time of silence in today's assembly, I'd like you to have a think about those people who lost their lives and also those people whose lives were changed by these events. Okay, well thank you, and we're now going to hear from Umar and Dre from primary school, and they're going to talk about the significance of Anzac Day and other days of remembrance for us today. Thank you.
Anzac Day is of great significance to many people around the world. It is particularly important in the Australian and New Zealand calendars. Not only is it a time to remember those who landed on the beaches at Gallipoli at dawn on April 25, 1915, but it is a time to remember and reflect on all those affected by war and conflict over the years.
Often when we think of war, we think of soldiers on battlefields as those affected by the hostilities. But there are so many more who we should remember. The families and friends at home who lived without knowing what was happening to their loved ones. The business that were not able to continue without the workers who were away. The children who grew up without knowing their parents. The families who lost the breadwinners and were forced to struggle to cope with the challenges of everyday life. The list is endless. Even after the war was over, many people, not only soldiers, were never the same people they had been a few years earlier. The impact of the war has lasted for generations.
We are the children of today, and we are blessed that we have not lived through a world war. We generally have a life of privilege where our needs and wants are provided. Many see soldiers as movie characters where the goodies win, the baddies lose, and everyone lives happily ever after. But, of course, the reality is very different. Today, we must take the time to reflect about the sacrifice the Anzac soldiers and their families made so we can have their peace and these privileges today.
So if you're not sure what the word Anzac actually means, it stands for the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. Okay, and to hear more about the date, the 25th of April, and the significance of that and the Gallipoli campaign, we're going to hear from Kate and Luciana. So thank you.
The 25th of April marks the start of the Anzac, landing during the Gallipoli campaign, which is located in modern-day Turkey. During World War I, the Allies attempted to take the Gallipoli Peninsula in order to open the Dardanelles to the Allied navies. This was a fierce, terrible campaign which lasted over 8 months and led to thousands of deaths for both sides. Even though they were technically enemies, the Turkish and Anzac soldiers had a strong mutual respect for each other and often shared cigarettes, food, and even photos which they threw between the trenches.
The Flanders poppy has long been a part of Remembrance Day and is also common during Anzac Day ceremonies. During the First World War, poppies were among the first plants to spring up in the devastated battlefields of northern France and Belgium. In soldiers' folklore, the vivid red of the poppy came from the blood of the comrades soaking the ground. You can see the poppies in the following sketch.
Today, Turks, Australians, and New Zealanders stand beside each other. They have a strong and friendly relationship. Our school is a great example for this, with many Australians and New Zealand staff, students, and parents. Every year, on the 24th to the 25th of April, the Battle of Gallipoli is commemorated in the Gallipoli Peninsula, Turkey with a wide participation from Australia and New Zealand. It is a very important and also very meaningful day for the Turks and Anzacs, and it is definitely a symbol of peace, understanding, and forgiveness.
We would like to read the ode. It comes from a poem by the English poet and the writer Lawrence Bion. Like so many of the Anzac memorial traditions, the ode is used on Anzac Day across the Commonwealth. It was first published in 1921. Bion's poem was also read at the laying of the inauguration stone at the Australian War Memorial in 1929.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old.
Age shall not worry them, nor the years con them.
At the going down of the sun and in the morning.
We will remember them.
So Indonesia and Australia actually share quite a bit of history during World War II. So Australian forces were part of the efforts to retake Indonesia from the Japanese forces during World War II. And you can see a couple of pictures here. This was in Balikpapan, which myself and quite a few other students used to live, as we had a school there as well. And you can see the damage and devastation of before they landed there. And when we were there, we got to meet a few of the soldiers who were very old at that time, close to 100 years old. It was really interesting to hear, some of their stories. And as you can see in the pictures, there were still some remnants of the war there. There's bunkers and also guns around the place. And you can also see in the pictures that even the Dayak tribes were sort of enlisted by the army to also help in the war effort there. So it was another interesting part of that campaign. Hi everybody. I'd like to say thank you for all of the students who made a recording for the assembly today. So we're now going to listen to the last post. So what's going to happen is there'll be some music that plays on like a bugle, and there'll be some pictures in the background. Then there'll be about a minute where there'll be silence. Now this is a time for you to sort of reflect and maybe say some prayers for the people who have lost their lives during times of war from all around the world. Then there's going to be some more music. Okay, and then we'll have the Australian and New Zealand national anthems, and then the end of the assembly. So, thank you.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair. Beneath our radiant southern cross we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this commonwealth of ours renowned of all the lands. For those who've come across the seas, we've boundless flames to share. With courage let us all combine to advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Ei hoa atua o ngā iwi matua a ta whakarogona te aroha noa. Kia hua ko te ai, kia tautoa ta pai, mana ki te mai, a te aroa. God of nations at thy feet, in the bonds of love we meet. Hear our voices, we entreat. God defend our free land. God Pacific's trembles down from the shores of strife and woe. Let her praises heard above. God defend New Zealand.
Okay, thank you very much for your attention today, everybody, and thanks again to all the staff and students who helped create this video today. Okay, have a lovely day, everybody.